Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to start working on putting an Accusump in the race car. Got a bunch of parts here. You can see I got some push lock hose, a bunch of fittings, the Accusump itself, a couple brackets, and the oil filter block off plate. Actually, it's a remote block off plate. And I've got a couple different size Mobile One oil filters here. I'm going to try and find the one that fits in there the best, that's the biggest. Okay, let's get started on that. Okay, so we're looking in through the driver's side window over to the passenger side kind of rear floorboard. I've taken the upper part of the tunnel sheet metal out so we can see the floorboard. Okay, I zoomed in a little bit, and we're going to put the Accusump roughly in this area here. I'll put one of the brackets back here, and then the other one will go here. I'll have to make a little aluminum plate to go across this X to support it. And it's actually going to go around the other way like this. And the hose will come off the front and go forward. Okay, we're going to start by drilling some holes up from the bottom for the back mount. Okay, there's a couple pilot holes. Okay, I've got the rear clamp temporarily bolted in there till I get some grade 8 hardware to replace it. Now I got to figure out where this front clamp is going to go. Okay, I've cut a small piece of aluminum angle here. I think will work under here. Mark some holes. Okay, so here on the side of the block is where the oil filter went. And that's where we're going to install the sandwich plate bypass plate. Okay, I've got the fittings installed some Teflon tape. Now we'll put the block on the side of the block up there. Get a little old oil here. Put it on the O-ring. Okay, we've got to make sure we've got the fittings oriented the right way. Then I'll get a wrench on there and tighten it up. Okay, that's installed. Now we'll move on to hooking up some lines in the valve. Okay, here's my valve. So I'll drill a hole in the firewall and this will stick through there. And the handle will be on the inside. And of course the valve body and everything will be on the outside. This will be coming in from the Accusump. And these two are going out to the sandwich adapter on the side of the block with the filter on top of it. Okay, I've got the Accusump unit all bolted in now. You see it over there. Now I've got to run some hose off of the front of that up to that yellow handled valve there on the firewall. Here's the valve. You can see the hose on top is the one that goes to the Accusump. Then the two hoses below go to the sandwich plate adapter under the oil filter on the block. You may be wondering why I've got two hoses going to the sandwich plate adapter. It's because the plate adapter has an in and out, which is normally for going through a oil cooler and back. And then you would just tee your Accusump line right into one of the oil cooler lines. Since I don't have an oil cooler yet, I'm just teeing the two lines off the sandwich plate together at the valve there. And so basically when the Accusump is active, it pressurizes both lines to the oil filter sandwich plate on the side of the block. With all the plumbing and stuff hooked up, show you a quick picture. There's the Accusump and the hose going forward. There up on the firewall where I can reach it is the on-off valve. And since this unit is underneath the firewall, I can't see this gauge, so I left the gauge tipped out so that I can just look through this fender well here and kind of see here. This is how I'd be looking at it, right through the crack. The tire will be kind of right over here, you know, and I can see the gauge. And then under here, you can see some more of the hoses. There's the valve back in there. The hose is coming out. There's the filter with its sandwich plate and the hoses going backwards. Okay, now we'll get some oil in it and get it primed up. Putting the good stuff in it. Okay, here we are inside the car, and there's the valve there. It's in the off position right now. I just checked the gauge on the Accusump, and there's about 63 pounds of pressure in it. So the way this works for pre-oiling, turn the ignition on there, you can see my red oil pressure indicator. So before I start the car, I can pre-oil it by turning this on. Let's see if I can get you in the same shot here. Now when I turn it on, you'll see the oil light go out. So I've pre-oiled the engine. I'm going to shut it back off now. See, the oil light came back on. So let's do a startup. I'll turn the oil Accusump on. This is the way I would keep it on when I'm racing. Watch your oil pressure gauge. Now you saw me, I watched the gauge go up to about as high as it would go, and then I reached down and I turned the Accusump off. That's what I would do after my race or my session was over, is I would go down the backstretch or something and I'd watch oil pressure gauge and make sure it had good pressure in it. I'd reach down and shut the Accusump off, then I'd come into the pits. And what that does is it charges up the Accusump so that the next time I have a cold start, I can pre-lube. I'll have pressure in the tank, so I can turn that on and pre-lube. And then also during the race I'll leave it on. And what that does is it'll keep pressure in the Accusump while you're racing. But if I was to say under hard braking or hard cornering, since I don't have a dry sump system in here, I do have a baffled pan, but it's probably not the best baffled system. I have to work on that a little more. But anyway, since I have the baffled pan and stuff, it's better, but still it's possible that you could slosh the oil to the front or the back and lose oil pressure. And so the Accusump, as the engine oil pressure drops, the Accusump senses that automatically and feeds oil into the engine. And then hopefully by the time you're done hard braking or hard cornering and in a situation where the oil is back to the pickup, it'll pick up its own oil pressure from the engine again and fill the Accusump back up. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.